This is Anti-Imperialist Front TV news for the week ending December 28, 2024. Hunger strikes continue in prisons in Turkey. Turkey fascism continues to pressure revolutionary prisoners. Prisoners resist these pressures with hunger strikes. The first of the resistance is the resistance of Ali Ülgü from Edirne F-type prison. Ülgü is on hunger strike to break the isolation of his captive comrade, Sikh prisoner Ekimcan Yıldırım. Yıldırım is kept separately from his comrades and in solitary confinement. The second is the resistance of Ferdi İşçi, a prisoner in Adana F-type prison. Ferdi İşçi has been given the status of dangerous prisoner, which is an unlawful practice. Due to this status, he is handcuffed even inside the prison. Ferdi İşçi continues his hunger strike resistance against this inhuman attack. On the other hand, Mullah Zincir, who started indefinite hunger strike together with Ferdi İşçi, continues his resistance at Buca High Security Prison. Lastly, the indefinite hunger strike of Serkan Onur Yılmaz and Sercan Ahmet Arslan against isolation continues. The demands of the resistors are to be transferred to a prison with their comrades, closure of the well-type prisons, which are prisons of severe isolation. Attacks against the Alawite people in Syria continue. After the jihadist gangs fueled by imperialism came to power in Syria, pogrom attempts against different segments of the society, especially Alawites, are being experienced in many parts of the country. In the areas where Alawites live densely, the attacks of the gangs resulting in death are reflected in the press as news every day. In addition, attacks on the religious values of the Christian people are also frequently reported. The imperialist press, which produces disinformation news, doesn't see these attacks. In addition, Hataşe announced that it imposed a broadcast ban on the civilian population. The only purpose here is to hide the attacks against the people and the places of worship of the people. The task of the internationalist is to expose the imperialist counter-revolution in Syria and to build solidarity with the people under threat. Event against imperialist aggression in Athens. A panel was organized in Athens, Greece, where the Anti-Imperialist Front was also a speaker. During the panel discussion, the war zones that NATO has created, such as Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Ukraine, were discussed. People and representatives of organizations from these regions took part as speakers. What we can do in Greece against this aggression was discussed. The importance of fighting against imperialism, Zionism, and disinformation was explained to the peoples of the world, and how imperialism uses proxy wars and color revolutions to change governments, such as in Iraq, Libya, Syria, Ukraine 2014, and now Georgia. The event, which was attended by about 40 people, ended with the promise of unity against US, EU, NATO imperialism and its collaborators. Israeli Zionism continues genocide. Genocide machine Israel continues its crimes against humanity. Israeli Zionism recently killed 5 journalists by shooting a live broadcast vehicle and then burned an active hospital in Gaza. The hospital, with hundreds of personnel and patients inside, became unusable. Health workers were burned to death. Among the survivors, some were arrested, including the hospital director. While the Zionist attack continues in Gaza, in West Bank, the collaborator Abbas administration attacks pro-resistance youth. There are deaths in the protests. In addition, in the past week, Israel, together with the USA and the UK, carried out a series of air attacks against Yemen. There were casualties in the attacks, in which civilian living areas were also hit. It is estimated that Zionism and imperialism are preparing a comprehensive attack on Yemen after Lebanon and Syria. That is Anti-Imperialist Front TV news for this week. For news outside the mainstream, follow us on social media. See you next week.